Miss Girl from the chat. When did Madeline allegedly text her friend that she wanted to go live in the woods when she turned 13? Was she already deceased at that point?
No.
Oh, Miss Girl, they found that in her phone. So when the text or the whatever it was written in on her phone, that was discovered on her phone, which is so indicative of a child that is living in an abusive home. That what 13-year-old wants to run away and live in the woods unless their home is the most unsafe, unsecure place? And that's indicative of that, of course, and very, very sad. Go ahead, Phil.
I was going to say that your home as a child is the safe place. The safety of your home is what gives you a feeling of security. That was violated in this case, in this child's life. Perhaps that's why she made that statement about going to live in the woods. She didn't feel safe and secure in her own home, unfortunately, and it's tragic, believe me. But I think that may be why some of the people are talking about a manner of death being suicide, because of her making a statement like that. Perhaps they felt that maybe she was suicidal based on the fact of the things that she was going through over the last couple of years with this animal. I don't even want to say his name, but it's just infuriating when you think about it. It's just something that's so sad, and I get why people might be feeling that suicide may have been one of the options on the table with the manner of death, but we already went through that. It's not even on the table.
Kissimmee, you come up with Kissimmee, Florida. You come up with some very good points from the chat. How could the Kissimmee PD make an early determination of death by homicide before they even found her body? Well, Kissimmee, do you remember when Chief Mena gave a press conference and he said they have her on video inside Stephon Stearns' car and she appeared to be dead at that point? So that's not a murder determination, but with other factors, they've been calling this a murder basically from day one, but we're not seeing a medical examiner's determination who ultimately, something on the scene, EMS, of course, comes and EMS will determine, the person's dead. And then there's someone called medical legal investigators that respond to the scene, and they work for the medical examiner's office. And they'll do a complete examination of the body. It's not their job to determine on the scene cause of death, or manner of death. They're not going to say, oh, this is a homicide. That's not their job. That would be the job of the pathologist after an extensive, thorough autopsy and combined with interviews with the detectives. Yes, the medical examiner interviews the first responding officers, the first responding detectives, ask them certain facts. What did you see? What did you recover on the scene? Other evidence that would help the medical examiner make that type of determination.
Bill, talk about two things here. One, when you have information early on, they're unable to find this child. She's not answering her cell phone. Now you have a video that shows her, which appears to be either unconscious or dead. That's how I think they got to that point. Now, you brought up a great point, Billy. Legal medical investigator responds to the scene once they find the body. Now, you're 100% right. The autopsy that's done, that's when the manner of death is determined. However, you could get information from that legal medical investigator when they do examine the body, perhaps petechial hemorrhaging in the eyes, marks around the neck. So they may give you that information ahead of time before the autopsy is conducted. So now we say, all right, we think at this point, even though it hasn't been determined by the medical examiner, it looks like a strangulation. Now, I'm not saying that's what happened in this case. I'm just giving a scenario where you detectives respond to the scene of a victim's body that has been found. You get information from that legal medical investigator. Perhaps it's a knife wound. Perhaps it's a gunshot wound. Sometimes they can even tell if it looks like it's a self-inflicted gunshot wound. However, they say preliminary. They always tell you preliminary based on the autopsy that's done by the medical examiner at the time. And then that medical examiner uses science, as I said earlier, to come up with a manner of death.
Absolutely. Again, I'm going to go to Kissimmee, Florida. Also, Phil, their house had a ton of prescription meds available. Then Kissimmee, Florida, perhaps we're going to be looking at how important the toxicology will be in this case. Could they have given her something that caused her death?
That may be the whole linchpin to this case. Perhaps the abuse was going on, drugging her, and maybe too much drugs or whatever it was, and an overdose occurs, and that's how we wind up where we are today. Again, that is just a possibility. I'm not saying that's what I think it is. Based on the information that Kissimmy's given us, that there was a lot of narcotics in the house, that's one of the scenarios that could play out here.